Troy takes down Georgia Southern. The Trojans are your 2026 Sun Belt champions as they go back-to-back, and they're headed back to the NCAA tournament. Let's talk about it. Locked on Sun Belt.
You are Locked on Sun Belt, your daily podcast on the Sun Belt Conference, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked on Sun Belt, your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, we got a coaching change at ULM. We don't have a coaching change at Texas State, although they won't be in the Sun Belt anymore. We'll still talk about that. And we'll get to the baseball matchup as well. Some huge matchups. Mostly on Tuesday, the Cajuns, Marshall playing 5-game week. Marshall's just playing Louisville twice. They're coming to me. We're going to see them later today, as the case may be. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. But obviously the main focus, Troy takes down Georgia Southern 77-61. In the game, let's be honest, was not all that close. Georgia Southern actually had the first lead of the game. I think Tyron Moore, Louisville native, by the way, hits a three, and Georgia Southern was off. Except it became 10-3. They stayed into it a little bit. There was a little bit of a slog of offense because it was 14-8, although it kind of felt like Troy was in control. It was still only a 6-point game, but then they started pulling away. And one of the big reasons was the defense, or the rebounding was the edge. Troy out-rebounded them 35-18. Thomas Dowd, who had 23 points to lead all scorers, had 13 rebounds. Georgia Southern, as a team, had 18 rebounds. Repeat that again in a different way. Thomas Dowd had 13 rebounds. The rest of Troy had 22. So he dominated this ball game tonight. And effective shooting-wise. He's had some big scoring games, but again, kind of 4-10, 1-9. He's getting to the free throw line because he's physical, and he can step back and make a three. He can drive to the bucket, can post you up. Very diversified kind of player. Multifunctional, if you will. But again, Georgia Southern Troy was in control of this basketball game. Georgia Southern made one little run. Beginning of the first half, or beginning of the second half, came out 9-1, cut the lead. I thought it was 39-35, but that was about as close as they got. Let me see if I get that right. And Troy just kind of slowly, methodically pulled away. It wasn't a big run or anything like that. It was mostly, is that 16-point lead the biggest of the game? Yeah, largest lead of the game was at the end. 77-61. All right. It was mostly 10, 12, 13. But again, Georgia Southern they just didn't have their legs. They did get it it was 39-35. It was 44-39. That's 5. But then it was by 6, by 8, by 10. It got up to 12. It got up to 14. It did get to 16 with 9 minutes left to go. It was 57-41. Bellamy had a big dunk. So they went on a little run there, right? 51-47. When it's a 10-point game and you score 6 straight, you go from 10 to 16, it's tough to come back from it when you're exhausted, all right? And I am taking nothing away from what Charlie Henry and Georgia Southern did in this. As the TV guys mentioned, he started out as 0-12. They were bad 3 years ago. 3 years later, they're playing in the Sun Belt Championship game, having won 5 games in 5 days. Nobody, apparently, has ever won 6 games in 6 days, probably for 2 reasons. It's incredibly hard. And no other tournaments have that, basically. But Troy was well rested. They played 2 Fridays ago, and they waited all the way to Sunday to play. Now, they're going to play in the NCAA tournament. If they get into a play-in game, or avoid the play-in game, which would be Tuesday or Wednesday, they will play Thursday or Friday. That's basically 20 and 21 days since the regular season ending. They will have played 3 games in 3 weeks. Scott Cross obviously had them ready to go, and I'll even give it to you if you want, they got a couple of breaks. They played a tired Southern Miss team, and they played a tired Georgia Southern team. You know what the championship trophy is not going to say, or the championship ring is going to say? Champions, but the other teams were tired. It's not going to say that. Doesn't matter. All right. You only can play with the team is in front of you. And Scott Cross and Troy did a tremendous job on shutting down Southern Miss. And they did a really good job of methodically beating Georgia Southern. All right. But they were well rested coming into this tournament, and they're going to be well rested going into the NCAA tournament. And the other team, depending on who they play, could have almost a week off as well. If they lose in the quarterfinals, then they played on Friday, and then they may play on Friday, so they'll have some time off as well. Nonetheless, it's a great job by Troy. Our buddy Kararishi in Jonesboro says, no matter how bad you are, whatever, you didn't fire Scott Cross, and that's what UTA did. All right. He played at UTA Arlington. I think one year the lead guy got hurt. Like the best player in the conference got hurt or banged up, and so they didn't win the championship that year, and they let him go. He went to TCU for a year to coach under Jamie Dimon, and it just so happened that Troy needed a basketball coach the following year. Now, it took a couple of years. I did call a Cajuns ball game up there. This was in 20. This is just before COVID, or probably as COVID is happening. We don't even know what's going on because it was opening day of baseball, and they were unveiling the Tony Robichaux trophy the statue back in Lafayette. Jay Walker wasn't missing that. So he asked me if I could do him a favor. Got to call a Cajuns game against Troy back to Lafayette. But I was always a big fan of Scott Cross. Big fan when he coached at UTA. Big fan of him now. We'll see where they are, because rumors are that he's going to Georgia Tech. Former AD at Troy is now a deputy AD at Georgia Tech. I think Charlie Henry and Georgia Southern are in a really good spot. We'll see. You probably got to refill the roster, whatever the case may be. But if you can take what he got to begin with and figure out how he did this, right? Because go back over Georgia Southern's, half a dozen last game. They were not very good until they beat Marshall to end the season. Then they beat ODU, and they were off to the races. So congratulations to both these teams. Congratulations to Troy, back-to-back. It'd be a lot of fun if they played Alabama, all right, for Alabama basketball fans. And I mean state, not necessarily school. So that'll be a lot of fun. Joe Lunardi, who again has Auburn in the tournament, and I don't think they belong in the tournament. He's got them in as their last 4 teams. Some other bubble teams must have lost over the weekend because Auburn lost over the weekend. And he's got Troy playing Alabama. He's got Troy as a 14 seed, which is kind of nice because they could be a play-in seed, 15 seed, and there's a little bit of juice if Troy's going to be playing Alabama. So that would be a lot of fun. Okay. Let's take a timeout. We got one coaching change happening. We got another coaching change that did not happen. So technically, that's not a coaching change. We'll tell you about that when we come back after I tell you about Robinhood and TurboTax. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play-by-play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. And TurboTax. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide, and you can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's a relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, the coaching carousel is going to start. Although there seems to be one team in Central New York that still has their coach. I'm trying to figure that one out, but you guys know this. Generally do not. Rooting is the wrong word. I'm not big on coaches getting fired, mostly because I don't want people to call me to get fired. Mostly it. So ULM let Phil Cunningham go. Okay. Not a big surprise. Warhawk Report kind of had those rumors out there on Monday, and those rumors probably didn't start on Monday. All right. It was not a good year for ULM. They were, they got blown out more than a handful of times. They were competitive sometimes. They almost beat Troy twice. They were 1-17 in conference, 4-28 overall. Obviously, that's just not good. If this is true or not, I don't know. If he only had a one-year contract. The outgoing AD hired him, John Hartwell. And as the previous coach, Keith Richard was retiring, right? He had called it a career. That was not a surprise. He called that in the middle of the season, okay? And that's, again, former ULM player and coach, struggled the last handful of years. And so they brought in Phil Cunningham, who I think coached there before. Didn't go his way. Now you got a young AD, SJ Tui, who's looking to make his first hire. Remember, Brian Vincent was hired before him. The baseball coach was hired before he got there. Now he's going to hire his basketball coach. Okay. The word is, I have no idea. There's handful of candidates out there. And one apparently is Donnie Tyndall. I didn't realize Donnie Tyndall kind of ruined Southern Miss. I just remember Donnie Tyndall at Tennessee. I would not hire Donnie Tyndall. All right. This guy's coming off a 10-year show clause. All right. Meaning he couldn't coach Division I without a good reason, apparently, or not at all. He's been in junior college. All right. I am big on second chances. He's getting his second chance. He's coaching JC. All right. There's got to be hundreds of candidates better than Donnie Tyndall. Can he coach basketball a little bit? Okay. There's not other guys that can coach a little bit. You need that baggage. I just would not. There's too many people that are qualified that can do that. And we've seen plenty of people that Nolan Smith took his team, turned around there. All right. The LIU coach, Rod Strickland, right? Been a UK assistant forever. Took his team to the NCAA tournament. All right. There's a lot of guys. You know, we had Brian Hodgson, right? He didn't go to the NCAA tournament, but he set records for how many wins Arkansas State had Now he may be going to the NCAA tournament with USF, and he may end up in a certain Central New York basketball team. So there's plenty of guys out there. We don't have to focus on the guy who's just getting out of NCAA jail. All right. He can do much better than that. All right. The other story is Terence Johnson. There were rumors that he was leaving or getting fired. And Don Coryell came out. The AD said he's sticking around. They're going to the Pac-12 2.0. Terence Johnson, who is a good coach. I think he made a run a couple of years ago as one of these low seeds. And I think he's won a couple of regular season titles. Hasn't been able to win a Sun Belt championship, I don't think. Let me see. Past champions. Did they win one? They did not. They have not won. App State won one. Georgia State went back-to-back 2018, 2019. They also won one in 22. So that's 3 out of 4 for Georgia State. Back then. I think Terence Johnson's a good coach. All right. So we'll see. He's sticking around. All right. Is there another coaching hire coming? All right. I mean, Marshall thinks they are, all these teams think this, like we got to win every year. All right. Marshall had a good year. Not a great year, but a good year. They lost some games at home. All right. Coastal turned it around. They're in good shape. Justin Kearns is at App State. Good shape. We'll see if somebody gets Richie Riley. All right. I'm not sure if Richie's had a shot to get a big time job. Right. Always on the precipice of that NCAA tournament. Like I think they were going to win the Sun Belt. We're still in New Orleans, and that was the COVID year. That was 20. They were playing really well, had a really good team, was going to go right to the semifinals, just like it was this year before they changed it, and then they went back. He does a great job at South Alabama. He finds these Division II and NAIA guys. Ends up getting with the player of the year, Chase Harris. Same thing. And he plays that funky zone where he literally said, when Georgia Southern beat him, give Georgia Southern credit. Usually the house wins eventually, and the house did not win tonight. They won. By that point means eventually you're going to start missing threes. And in the case of Georgia Southern, they started making a bunch of threes and went on what was like a 17-2 run to beat South Alabama, or to take the lead anyway. And so we'll see if Richie is going anywhere. All right. I think Ryan Pannone did a good job at Arkansas State. They were up and down. I'm not sure if Jay Ladner, was he indicating he may call it a career? He's not a big fan of this NIL. He kind of likes having the same kids around, right? Because guys get used to you, and you got to break new kids in. He kind of likes it, all right? I know they're not happy with Spradlin over at James Madison. They were picked to win it, and they just had not a great year at all. They were 18-15, finished 9-9, was playing well down the stretch, but ended up losing their last 2 ball games, I believe. Again, Georgia Southern did not have a really good regular season at all, and then they just reeled off 5 wins in a row. We'll see what Mike Jones does at Old Dominion. Quantas White, despite that 11-22 record, 7-11 in conference, I mean, he ended up doing a really good job. They were really competitive. They had all kinds of injuries. You guys know I'm a reasons guy compared to excuses. I mean, they had like 4 or 5 guys go down. All right. Jonas Hayes still with Georgia State. That's kind of the surprising one. Like 10-22 for Georgia State in year 3 or 4, and maybe more. Not great, Bob. So we'll see if they make a change. All right. But for now, there's one change announced and one change that's announced that's not happening. All right. ULM lets Phil Cunningham go. We'll see. So we got one coach going. We have one coach staying in Terence Johnson, and then we're going to have to wait almost 2 weeks to see what happens with Scott Cross. I mean, I guess you could announce it now. There is this little time. It's a way for Troy to say thank you. All right. Kind of celebrate Scott Cross. see if you can send them out with an upset victory in the NCAA tournament. But we probably won't find out about that until later on. All right, let's talk baseball. A lot of basketball so far, but we do have some big midweek matchups, mostly today on Tuesday, before Sunbelt play opens up this weekend, which we will be able to concentrate on since we're going to wait for basketball on to come around back on Sunday night. We'll probably go live as well after the selection show is announced. All right. So let's talk baseball. We'll do that right after we talk about FanDuel and 5-Hour Energy. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-off to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your need. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. And 5-Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft. With 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy, there's something for everyone. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and I've got my number one pick for the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft. I'm going with consistency. I'm going to go this time with cherry, bold cherry candy flavor style. Sweet with a light tart edge, classic red fruit profile, bright, punchy taste, smooth and easy to recognize, clean, slightly tangy, and finish. If I'm going to take a little flyer, go off the board, change things up, I'm going sour apple. You guys know that. That apple bites back. A crisp, tangy taste, deliciously tart, bold, a little sweet, and a lot sour. Find your new favorite flavor at 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Before we talk midweek baseball, let me tell you about that Everydayer Club. I got in there today or last night, as the case may be, and we're going to start going into this on a somewhat regular basis, maybe a little bit during baseball Tuesday evening. We could talk about that Marshall game that hopefully we'll get in, and we'll talk about that as well. But let me tell you, because it's a great opportunity to get in this. If you've been thinking about joining the Everydayer Club, now is the time. You get ad-free shows, and if you're signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you can get into the Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. Should be a lot of fun. Right now, you can use code MARCH to get your first month free. Head to lockedonsunbelt.supercast.com, lockedonsupercast.com. That's lockedonsunbelt.supercast.com, lockedonsunbelt.supercast.com, or tap the link in the show notes. We'll put that in the show notes, since I didn't say it right the first time. All right. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, Southern Miss continue to roll. Not a big surprise, sweeping North Alabama. Cajuns won the first two ball games against DBU, got blown out. Coastal Carolina won the first two ball games against ECU, got blown out. All right. And we got some huge matchups with Southern Miss going to Arkansas State and South Alabama going to the Cajuns and Coastal going to App. All right. A lot of fun coming up this weekend. But before we get to that, again, we got some nice midweek matchups. All right. All right. So we do have the Marshall Thundering Herd coming here to play Louisville. So that'll be fun. Again, a little weather expected, but they're playing a 3 p.m. game and an 11 a.m. game. So and I have both days off. So we're at least going to get to the Tuesday ball game. We'll see what happens on Wednesday. All right. Arkansas State playing former Sunbelt foe Little Rock. But let's get to the big ball games. Coastal Carolina hosting Wake. Huge. Old Dominion at East Carolina. That could be big. Georgia Southern is at Clemson. Cajuns hosting UT Rio Grande Valley. Their record not so great. Their crowds have been fantastic. They've been selling out early on in the season. I think they're 7-9 so far this year. All right. We mentioned Troy may play Alabama in basketball. They may, well, not that they may. They are playing Troy in. Troy is playing Alabama in baseball. I'll spit it out. That's in Tuscaloosa. That's a big ball game for Troy to see if they can take down Alabama. Did they already take down Alabama? Who did Alabama already lost a game in there? Right. Let me see. Who beat Alabama? Was it South Alabama? Oh, Southern Miss beat them. Oh, all right. Southern Miss beat Alabama and Mississippi State so far. All right. Here's another big ball game. Texas State hosting Texas. I mean, it just doesn't get too much bigger than that. It just not at all. That's not what I was looking for. So that's huge. Big chance for Texas State to improve on that RPI with a win over Texas. And then just the same, you got Southern Miss hosting Ole Miss. So you got some huge ball games. Wake is at Coastal Carolina. You have Troy is at Alabama. Texas State hosting Texas. And Southern Miss hosting Ole Miss. Just huge. I say Marshall, Louisville. Louisville's off to a little bit of a rough start, don't they? I mean, like a really rough start, I thought. They're 10-5. All right, maybe they're playing. Are they playing a little bit better, Louisville? They did sweep Seton Hall this past weekend at home, so they are playing a little bit better. All right. So we're looking forward to that. And again, we have huge series this weekend to kick the Sun Belt off. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then again, with basketball done now, we can concentrate on that. And then we can concentrate on the basketball a little bit. And then if we have to deal with basketball overlapping baseball, oh well, because that would mean that Troy gets a win in the NCAA tournament. All these games are matchups, so we'll see how that works out. Troy's not a prolific three-point shooting team. They can shoot the three-pointer. I don't think they're that prolific. I guess. Let me see if we got team 3-point field goals made. You know what? Troy's fourth in the league. No. They're fourth in the league, averaging 9 a game. All right. Look what I know. They're actually third in the league. Georgia Southern made 370. This is as of March 10th, apparently. Georgia Southern makes 370. Marshall made 322. Troy makes 307. I didn't think they were. All right. That's pretty good. No, that's pretty good. Let me see what they are. Field goal percentage. They shot 33%, 34% from three. All right. Because that's the way you're going to beat a team is you got to get hot from three. I don't think they have the size. And the question also comes in, does Theo Sang make it back? Bring in some defensive and interior presence. All right. That's what we'd be looking for from that. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in. I mean, what did we do? We did a couple of in-between broadcasts for the Sun Belt. All right. We did a pregame show tonight, and we did postgame show tonight, and now we have the episode for Tuesday. if the Sun Belt is going to continue to want to use that studio, and I think they do it for baseball as well. I could be wrong about that. You got to take advantage of the production and just keep on broadcasting. I don't know why. That again, that may be a more technological thing over my head because the stream is going to change from game to game. But just make it one stream. I don't know if you can't. We're here all day, right? We're here, game tips off at 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern, whatever it is. We're here from 5:30 to when the game is over. We're going to preview the game. We're going to stay at halftime. We're going to stay in between games. And then the next game comes up. It's all one stream. Right? Again, I don't know, but there is obviously an opening for that with the Sun Belt. All right. Plenty of people could hop on and help out the Sun Belt if they so choose. All right. And it wouldn't cost them nearly as much as they think. Okay. Thanks again for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We'll come back. We'll tell you what Marshall does after I see them tomorrow and what the rest of baseball does, because usually those midweek games are early and we'll get them in. I'm off on Wednesday anyways. So it works out well. All right. Do appreciate it. Go over to Locked On Sunbelt. Please subscribe. It's a big help. Don't forget about Apple Podcasts and Sunbelt. Also leave those comments in the episodes as well. So it is a big help. All right. On YouTube. That's how it grows. That's how the podcast grows. All right. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Wednesday.